Okay.
Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Vibe here, saying as always, you're blessed and highly favored. You're a magnet for miracles and you're a solution for someone's problem. I am jacked because not only do I have the person I wanted, but we didn't get the other person, but we got two new friends on the line via Blab here today. Myself and Cheryl Ann, especially Cheryl Ann, she's going to be sharing about the Truth Conference, which is coming up in Niagara Falls in 2 weekends from now. It's a
Yeah.
great conference. So before I could go long end with it, but I want Cheryl Ann to talk about the conference. And if Cherise and Jean have any questions after a few moments, certainly people can chime in. So Cheryl Ann, thank you for finally making it on.
Okay, well, thank you so much for inviting me, Dr. Vibe. I'm excited about this upcoming conference. It's our second year. It's called the Truth Conference. It's being held in Niagara Falls, Ontario. And it's really about helping people discover what we call their plan A. So many people just exist from day to day. They get up, they go to work, they come home, they eat dinner, and they just go on. They're not happy about life. They're discontented about so many things. However, they don't know how to make a change, and they don't know what to do. And so we decided that we would host a conference that helps people renew their mind, renew their body, and renew their spirit. And based on that premise, we have invited certain speakers to this particular event to speak on those areas. We have Dr. Carolyn Leaf, a noted neuroscientist, who will be speaking about switching on your brain. She's going to be talking about the effects of toxic thoughts, and how you can renew your mind. The Bible talks about being able to renew your mind. Now, so many people, they hold themselves captive through unforgiveness. And I think this is a great opportunity for them to come out and come and get freed and see how the physical damage that unforgiveness can do, along with other negative toxic thoughts. We have Ernestine Shepherd, who is 79 years old. And she's going to be talking about the physical. How do you keep the body healthy? Now, Ernestine started working out at age 56, when most people may think it's too late to even get started. She and her sister, they made an agreement, and they wanted to be in the Guinness Book of Records. And to date, she is the oldest female bodybuilder in her category in the Guinness Book of Records. And then we have a gentleman by the name of Andrew Yu, who's going to be talking about balance and boundaries. So often, we take offense or get offended, and when we don't realize that we haven't put proper balances and boundaries in place so that people know how far to go with us, regardless of what we may be involved in, and we get tied up and we get bound up, and we get so upset at someone else, and oftentimes the other person doesn't even know that you've taken offense. So we've got Andrew dealing with the balance and the boundaries, and we have Pastor Richard Brown, who's going to bring the spiritual component, and we have a workshop for the men. We call it Men Only, Love Covers, and that's being hosted by Reverend Lawrence Shepherd, who's been a family counselor for many, many years. He has a ministry called Plan and Prepare, as he helps young individuals prepare for marriage. And so he's going to be talking to the men. And Erin Faye Franz, Canada's fashion coach, she's going to be talking to the women about intimacy within marriage. And of course, we have the very own Dr. Vibe, who's going to be talking to the singles. And so they're going to talk about relationships. They're going to talk about it. It's going to be an open forum. So they will have an opportunity to share heart with Dr. Vibe, and he will have an opportunity to, to give insight and give input into the lives of these young adults. And Saturday, we tie that all up with a tropical night banquet where you let loose and unwind after a day of intensive workshops and general sessions, and then we wind up on Sunday. So that's basically the weekend in a nutshell.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Jean, do you have any questions about, I know this is the first time, do you have any questions at this present time about the conference? Because I know obviously you probably won't be attending because of distance, but I know you do a work with young people and helping young people. Would you have any questions for Cheryl-Ann at this moment in regards to, truth and truth in young people and young people finding the truth?
Well, absolutely. I think the two biggest questions, the two most important questions that we ask teenagers today is, who are you? That's your identity. And number two, why are you here? That's your purpose.
Yes.
And then the thing on forgiveness, I would love to be there at Niagara just to hear the whole comments in the area of forgiveness, because there's so many kids that have been abused. There's so many kids that have been used. There's so many kids that have an inner critic that is most critical of them. And you add all these things together, and without forgiveness, it's like drinking the poison and hope that, the other person dies.
Yeah.
That we've got to teach kids how to forgive themselves and others if they're ever going to move on in their life to really answer those two questions. But it sounds like a great conference. And I do like the spiritual component, because I think, Dr. Vibe, I think the major issues in life are spiritual and require spiritual solutions. We got to stop kidding ourselves. We got to stop kidding ourselves. That there's going to be other kinds of solutions that we're going to give to kids, and it's going to transform and change their life. It's not going to happen until we deal with the spiritual component. And you need spiritual solutions in order to deal with spiritual problems.
Go ahead, Cheryl-Ann. I could chime in at your comments. I can certainly provide some additional comments, but go ahead.
I totally agree in that you cannot have a complete solution without a spiritual component. You cannot, because then it would be incomplete. And you're so right. So often, many of the issues that we face is, if it's dealt with in the spiritual, then we're able to manage it in the natural and move forward. But so often we don't even acknowledge that there's a spiritual component, right? And we think we can do it in our own selves, in our own flesh. We're master of our own destiny. We declare and dictate what we do, when we realize that, how that really is not so. So I like what you're saying, Jean, because the conference is all about helping people find purpose, right? Helping people discover what is God's best for you, not what you've decided to settle on. And oftentimes it's because they don't know who they are and they don't know what they're about.
Exactly. I go to a church where it's a little church here in Southern California, has about 40,000 people attend on the weekends. And you may have heard of
how many?
About 40,000.
Okay, I think I know which one it is.
Okay, we don't have to go any further. But, it is the purpose-driven church and purpose-driven life. And I've been sitting underneath Rick Warren's ministry for almost 20 years now. And he is the most genuine, real person that's bringing, I think, to our nation the answers that we all need to really embrace, to bring to, especially to the teens of our country, because they are really needing that message more than anyone. Yeah.
I just want to interject too, and I think it's a very important point that you bring out, Jean, that if we don't start working with teens, it can lead into adulthood.
Exactly.
And really, we're getting them in the adulthood stage right now. You know what I mean? They've come through the teens. They've got the profession, they've got the this, they got the that, and then there's this emptiness. There's this unfulfilled component in their lives. And it's like, okay, I strived so hard to get this, and I've got it. I strived so hard to get this, and I've got it. Now, what else? What is that? What else? Why do I still feel as though something is missing? And so that's what Truth Conference is all about, to help people find that missing component and go for the gusto and really live. The Word of God talks about, He wants us to live life and to live it in abundance. And so often we settle, and so often we...
Less than abundant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
We
Less
settle.
than abundant.
Yep.
So let Cheryl-Ann, how did the Truth Conference come to be?
Well, we had done an event. A group of us had done an event, and we thought, you know something, we need to do a conference because we seem to see a lot of Christians and they look so sour, they look so unfulfilled, they look so unhappy. And we thought, let's do a little conference to help people understand who they are, and to deal. Was actually primarily to deal with issues that we felt were not being covered in the church realm. Perhaps maybe because expertise wasn't there in terms of subject matter experts coming in, or they probably didn't even realize that there was some type of magnitude. So we thought, let's deal with issues that people didn't really want to touch, but there was a huge need in the family, in the home, to have these issues addressed, to bring healing in the home. So that's what triggered it. And so a lot of it started off with relationships and intimacy in the home, in the marriage. And that's what caused us to bring in Canada's Passion Coach and Reverend Lauren Shepherd, and of course the spiritual component with Pastor Richard, or spiritual overseer. And last year we had Alvin Day, who spoke on empowerment and knowing, if caterpillars can fly. That's his book. So that was the whole purpose for getting the conference started, because we looked around and we saw Christians without joy. And we thought, we need to bring some joy into these people's lives. The thing is that we're finding that the people that are gravitating towards the conference is not even really the Christians.
Interesting.
Right? Because
that is, bring that point out. That's something I noticed last year when I attended the conference in a media capacity. And so talk about that.
I think sometimes, and if I can be candid, people in Christendom, we're so used to wearing masks, and we always feel that we've got it under control, and the Spirit will take care of it. And there are some issues that you have to address. You can't just sweep it under a rug. You can't just pray, and pretend it will go away. It will not go away, because there are certain things that must be addressed. And so we found that Christians were reluctant to deal with some of the issues that we had put forward, and and others were more open to say, well, okay, what do I need to learn here? But that's what we found.
Well, we found that true too when we went into the public schools of America. I was given this title as National Educator of the Year in the United States. And
wow! Congratulations!
And I'm blessed. I really am, in terms of the doors that has opened. But a lot of times people, the biggest people that I find that I run into that are questioning what I'm sharing on teaching kids about responsibility and teaching kids about respect are Christians, because unless you mention a Bible verse to somebody, they feel like, well, where are you coming from and what are your values? And all they can do is criticize rather than be good listeners and try to really understand, the principles. They're still kingdom principles, but they're clothed in a way that the public schools embrace them and adopt them.
Yes.
But they're still God's truth. I mean, God's truth are God's truth.
Exactly. You can't change truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You cannot. And so, we present it in a way that is palatable, that is not hitting anybody over the head. But certainly it is the truth, God's truth.
Yep.
Well, and Jean, you wanted me to talk about the greatest needs of teens, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because the conference is directed to adults. But one thing I will say is a lot of times the greatest needs in teens are not that much different from the greatest needs of adults. Yeah. They want attention, and whether it's believer or non-believer. Yeah. When I was growing up and I had hair, they told me that I'm jealous of both of you in some ways, but it's low maintenance. It's low maintenance, but and low cost, because I know what Cheryl plays for one visit probably covers the whole up here for a whole year. But when I was told many years ago that the most important thing in life was money. I didn't believe that. Then I was told the most important thing in life is time, which I believed. But then I'm getting to the point now, the most important thing in life for someone is attention.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Belonging.
Yeah.
That's what, so I'm not. So that's between, and we think that teens don't have those challenges, but a lot of adults have that challenge also.
They do.
You know, whether Christian or non-Christian, they go through their journey and their walk, and they get to a certain point in their journey saying, hey, I haven't achieved everything that was supposed to be, or I was told to be. Yeah. And it's sort of that time where they go, oh my goodness. And a lot of times that's where we lose people to serious challenges and serious incidents. And that's why of something like a Truth Conference, and it's not the only conference in town that's dealing with this, but it's dealing with this sort of thing to get your purpose, to help find your purpose, and be in a community where people get real, and like I say, to take their church faces off.
Yeah, good point. Well, the will future supersedes the logical future. We are not just a product of circumstances.
Exactly.
And so we have to teach kids that the way you get there and the way you belong to, you have to present, the way you present yourself is you will that to happen. You don't wait for it to happen. Go back again to what Cheryl Ann said about, God can give us all the seeds. He can give us the land. He can give us the tools, but the garden never comes together until you get out there and dig the holes and put the seeds in the ground.
You got it.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, I know if Cheryl Ann's budget was bigger, I think she may even invite you up to the conference.
Well,
but this is the beauty of Blab, and beauty of community. Yes. That even though you knew nothing about this conference before getting on this conversation, you're adding enrichment and reinforcing to what Cheryl Ann, Nadine, and whole team are doing. That's outstanding. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys even doing that. And if you're reaching out to the Black community, it's interesting. Colin Powell's organization, when we called them when we were first setting up Ambassadors of Compassion, which is our teen program, and we call Colin Powell's office. I know one of the board members there because I used to work with Rachel's Challenge, and Rachel was the first one killed at Columbine High School. An incredible young person. And if you've never heard her story, go find it somewhere and just hear what she has to say as a 17-year-old. But, one of the things that we found out in talking with Colin Powell's office is there are, of all the failing schools, there's only 95,000 schools in America, okay? Of all the failing schools, there are only 1,500 failing schools. You tell me where they are. Where are those failing schools? They're in the inner cities of America. That's where the failing schools are. And what we've got to do is we've got to go in the public schools, not go to the charter schools, not go to the public schools, the parochial schools, but go to the public schools of America and bring a message to those kids that you're doing in Niagara Falls. Because I agree with you. I agree with you, Dr. Dr. Vibe. I think the message is the same for teens that it is for adults.
Yes.
Cheryl Ann, let me get the focus back on to the conference. Were you surprised that you were getting as many non-believers to your first conference as you were believers?
Yes, I was. Although we were challenged with the conference, we were, really being pulled. We thought what we really wanted to do was have a conference that had faith-based values, right? That address certain issues. And we were being pulled in two directions. And people said, well, we don't really understand what the conference is all about. Is it Christian or is it not Christian? And they were pushing us to put it in a box, right? It has to be Christian or it's non-Christian. There's no gray area. And we were really not convinced that it had to be totally a Christian conference, right? And we didn't want it to be totally secular either. We wanted a conference with Christian-based values. Anyway, as things moseyed along, we realized that as we planned the workshops and the sessions, that the content would appeal to both audiences. And so we finally realized that we're getting what we wanted, a conference with Christian-based values, not necessarily a Christian conference, because we wanted to be able to have companies come in, send their people, treat it as a wellness opportunity. So many companies, so many organizations are being challenged by people with emotional issues. And so here's an opportunity to come and hear a subject matter expert, not our opinion. We've brought in the subject matter experts to deal with this. so that you can have, you can have transformation. You can be set free.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Companies, if you're looking at your bottom line, you can have greater productivity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Less absenteeism. You have people that are there, present to do the job, not just there occupying a seat, and really their mind is elsewhere. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that was the whole point. And we finally decided we will stick with the fact that we wanted to be a Christian with Christian-based values. So we wanted to be a conference with Christian-based values. And not just be solely known as a Christian conference.
Well, look at Cheryl Ann. If you look at the human body and you go right straight from the head to the feet, you can name all of the values that are universal values, biblical values, core ethical values. They're all right there. Okay, the head in this whole area, that we're talking about here, this is where our dominant thoughts are, mental rehearsals. This is how we think and how we look at people. The eyes and ears are all about respect. The mouth is all about making and keeping your agreements, integrity. The heart is where the major decisions of life are made. The gut is where you have to have fortitude in order to get through it, perseverance, resiliency, grit, And the feet hold up the whole body. That's the foundation for everything. Responsibility, or taking initiative, taking the first steps, if you please. Mm-hmm. You take all these 7 core ethical values, they're all in the body, and they're all about behavior. And God expects us to behave in a way that focuses on other people. And all those tools can be used to reach others in the world, so that this selfishness that we all refuse to claim that we have can become smaller, and the others can become larger.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that values, I think there's too much argument about whose values are you teaching,
Mm-hmm.
Let's get on with it. Let's identify, let's do survey after survey if we need to, but let's identify the values, the core ethical values that businesses want, that communities want, that people want, that serve us and strengthen us as human beings. And then let's move on and promote those wherever we go.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of the stuff that's going to be at the Truth Conference. It's going to be shared, not spoken, but shared at the Truth Conference. What are the things should people know about the conference, Cheryl Ann?
Well, it starts on the Friday evening. We have it starts with a one sound at the time of prayer, praise, and worship. So that's going to set the tone, lay the foundation for the weekend. We still have lots of room to accommodate folks. So if you want to even come up just for the day on Saturday, you can. And because the bulk of actually all the workshops is going to be on Saturday, right from 9 a.m. in the morning, ending with the banquet in the evening, which will probably end around 11 o'clock at night, and then the closing session on Sunday. You want to make sure you walk with your running shoes, because we will the Ernestine Challenge workout with Ernestine Shepherd in the afternoon, for sure. And it's at the Americana Conference Resort and Spa. It's at 8444 Lundy's Lane in Niagara Falls, Ontario. So if you're coming from the U.S., all you need to do is hop on a plane, get off in Buffalo, and just come across the border. That's the fastest way to get there. It's only about half an hour from the Buffalo airport.
Nice. Gene, your camera's there we go. It's gone a little worvy on us, but it looks good now. See, ever since you took your hat off, you forgot you took your hat off. No, you're looking good, man. Cheryl Ann, anything else you want to chat about before we let everyone go in regards to the conference? Oh, hello, Cindy. Thanks for joining in. Anything else you want to share about? Let me ask you, share an experience that had happened at the conference last year that you will never forget.
Well, it was in the Tropical Night banquet. We decided that we were going to have the banquet setting, and we had a little pre-reception, and that was with some steel pan in the water park, and it was it was storming outside. The snow was just coming down, and we're sitting in this very warm place of water and the splash pad and all of that. And you're looking outside and you're seeing a totally different environment. You're seeing the blizzard outside, and then the inside is just warmth and camaraderie, people interacting, people asking questions, people expressing joy, people expressing, just happiness at being there, at choosing to come, and just being able to talk and recap on the day as to what they learned and how they're going to, implement what they've learned. Because we don't want Truth Conference to be an event whereby you come, you get happy, you get tickled for the moment, and by the time you get home and they ask you, so what was the conference about? You go, it was really good, really, really good. But but it was really good. We want to leave such a mark that you will start putting these things that you've learned into place. And you start making, it's all about permanent change. It's not about an emotional experience just for the moment. So the biggest thing that I was happy about was people that spoke to me and said, you know what, my life has changed. And from this day forward, I can say, this is what I am going to do to maintain that change and to move forward. That was my biggest joy.
I have to tell you, I had one of my secretaries as a school principal for 20 years in one school. And she taught me so many things. And one of the things that she taught me is that same kind of energy you're talking about. It's the electricity of life that once you have the truth, it will set you free, as you're talking about in this conference. And one of the things she told me is, she said, Gene, never adopt words like being burnt out. Because when you do, if you adopt words like that, they will burn you out. Language, and then she said to me, language is the mediator of all behavior. So if your conference speaks to language and gives people the language to overcome, gives people the language to strengthen and to see and to bring hope, then that conference, I want to go to that conference. How do we get on the plane to Buffalo? I may live in California, but I'm going to Buffalo, baby.
Well, yeah, for me, as I said last year, I had the opportunity to meet Cheryl Ann and Nadine, who couldn't join us because she doesn't on Twitter yet. We're going to get her on Twitter and go down there and just enjoy the conference for the day. And it was a really great experience. And then being humbled and honored enough to come and share with some of their audience, I don't take it lightly. And the funny thing is, I've had conversations with Cheryl Ann and Nadine offline, and they're saying, you got to say this, you got to say this, you got to say this. And I'm saying, I don't even have my talk prepared yet, and you're already telling me I got to say this, this, and this. So I'm humble because really and truly, I'm just coming down to just share. Simple as that. And I guess I've been blessed with enough evaluated godly experience, and some non-godly experience, because I'm going to be transparent, that I'm going to have a lot of fun. But I want to make sure that, first of all, I do God right and I do the conference right, because I take it as a big responsibility and I don't take it lightly. So
he's going to be good. He's going to be good. I know.
We're looking forward to having him be with us.
Yeah. Well, it's in our neck of the woods, come to the top of the hour. I think, unless there's anything else you want to share with us, Cheryl Ann, do tell us how people can find out more information about the conference.
You need to go to www.truthconference.ca. Again, that's www.truthconference.ca, and check out our website, and you can get much more information about what it is that we mean when we say, discover your plan A, and you can watch our videos on there, and you can see more about our speakers, and check out our schedule, and most importantly, sign up and join us.
Yes. Also, I'm not doing this as a shameless plug, but if you go to my site, thedrvibeshow.com, THDRVIBESHOW, you will be able to listen to a number of podcasts with the speakers at the conference.
Oh, cool.
There's about 4 or 5 that are already up there, and there's about 2 more. I've got 3 more to post. So basically, I'd say 75 to 80% of the presenters at the conference have done conversations with me that you can listen to live. And they spend more time talking about their journey more than what they're going to be presenting at the conference. So you get to know a little bit more about their story, their journey. So you get a little bit more knowledge about them. I just don't have them come on to say, oh, what are you going to talk about? No, we find out some of their journey, some of the challenges that they've been through, and their passion, not only for serving God, but serving others, but their passion to be part of the conference.
Yes. Cool. And what is that? What is that website or contact?
I'm going to type it in for you right now on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
The Dr. Vibe Show.
So yeah, and you type that in, and if you put in the search engine, the Truth Conference, you'll hear a number of conversations that I've done.
Awesome.
All right. Well, folks, I'm going to finish up this blab. I think, unless Cheryl-Ann, you have anything else you want to share, I'm going to close it off.
I'm good. Looking forward to chatting with you offline.
Okay, and also, Gene, if people want to connect with you, I always make sure that people get a chance to share what they're all about. If people want to connect with you, how can they do that?
I'm the CEO for the National Character Education Center. So we're at, this is a little bit different kind of a website as far as the spelling. It's Ethics USA, ETHICS USA.org.
Can you quickly just type that into the comments section before we close down? And I know we were talking about the Truth Conference, but since you've been so kind to be a contributor to our conversation, I think it's only fair and right that because a lot of what you're doing is in line with what the Truth Conference is doing too.
Well, maybe we can hold a Truth Conference for teens someday, huh?
Cheryl. Cheryl, you see your work. Okay, yes. Cheryl-Ann was writing something, and all of a sudden, pop. When you said that, you just pop. So yes, make sure if you can type that out now, Gene, and then we'll close it down, and that'd be great. And I'll be sharing the link of this with you, Gene, later. I've got your Twitter handle. And also, Ethics USA. And I'm Gene. I'm following you on Twitter. So if you can follow me back, then I'll be able to DM you the link, and we'll take it from there. But thank you very much, Gene, for joining in for the whole conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. My honor.
Yes, and Cheryl-Ann, thank you so much. Nadine, thank you. Though you're not here, thank you so much. And we'll be catching everyone else very soon. And maybe we'll be doing a blab from the Truth Conference.
All right, looking forward to that.
And so I'll make sure, Gene, you're connected with that. Oh, hi, Penelope. We're going to be just checking out in a few moments. But yeah, so maybe we'll be doing a blog from down there. But as always, I'd like to say you're blessed and highly favored. You're a magnet for miracles and your solution for someone's problem. Thanks for everyone who caught this live. For those who didn't, the link will be up in the next few hours. So God bless, peace be well, and keep the faith. Bye-bye.